It is Wednesday, November 29th, and this is The National. Tonight, a deadly stage collapse at a Radiohead concert raised concerns about workplace safety in Canada. Now a band member is speaking exclusively to CBC News and demanding change.
Donald Trump under fire for retweeting anti-Muslim videos and facing new questions about his state of mind.
But we begin with another stunning fall from grace, this time one of the biggest names in morning television. Matt Lauer, synonymous with NBC's Today Show, was fired after an employee made allegations to the network of his inappropriate advances.
Good morning. Breaking news overnight. Matt Lauer has been terminated from NBC News. This is a sad morning here at Today and at NBC News.
Lauer's morning show colleagues broke the news live on air, reading a memo from the president of NBC News. On Monday night, we received a detailed complaint from a colleague about inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace by Matt Lauer, wrote Andrew Lack. While it's the first complaint about his behavior in the over 20 years he's been at NBC News, we were also presented with reason to believe this may not have been an isolated incident.
Now, today it's all about politics that's happening in Washington.
Yeah.
Lauer has been the cornerstone of the Today Show for 2 decades and was the highest paid person at NBC News, earning $25 million a year. Shortly after today's announcement, multiple media reports suggested that Lauer engaged in sexual misconduct with a colleague during the Sochi Olympics in 2014. And a months-long investigation by Variety reported Lauer had an alleged pattern of inviting women to his hotel room while traveling on assignments. Variety also reports that Lauer frequently quizzed women about their sex lives while at work and gave a sex toy to a colleague with a graphic note, as well as exposing himself to a female employee in his office, an office with a door that could be locked by pressing a button under the desk, according to Variety sources. The investigation says Lauer's conduct was well known by Today's staff, making interviews like this awkward.
Did you ever send a lewd text or email to another employee at Fox News?
No.
Think about those 5 women and what they did. They came forward and filed complaints against the biggest star at the network they worked at. Think of how intimidating that must have been.
Variety reports that several women lodged complaints in the past about Lauer with NBC executives, but no action was taken.
We are grappling with a dilemma that so many people have faced these past few weeks. How do you reconcile your love for someone with the revelation that they have behaved badly?
The New York Times was also investigating Lauer. Tonight it says NBC received at least 2 more complaints just today about the former host. And the broadcaster says current news management was not aware of any complaints until this week. Stephen D'Souza has more reaction on Lauer, the latest in a growing list of high-powered men fired for sexual harassment or assault.
The reports published today suggest Matt Lauer's behavior was no secret to many employees at the Today Show. But for his fans, the news was a bombshell.
In shock. I mean, that's unexpected.
I'm so sad, and it's kind of hard to believe.
Really stunning, because I'd never thought anything like that of him. Of course, I hadn't thought that of a lot of other people either, so I guess anybody can.
This was supposed to be a picture-perfect day at Rockefeller Center, NBC's home in New York. The annual Christmas tree lighting is a bright spot on the holiday calendar. But today's news cast a shadow over the event.
I feel very disappointed in so many people, and I feel sad for the poor women that have had to, go through this for so many years.
The fact that Matt Lauer could be dismissed tells you something very important about the moment we're in.
NPR media reporter David Folkenflik says while there are questions about what NBC knew and when, the importance of Lauer's firing can't be underestimated.
He powers the Today Show, which is by far and away the economic engine that propels the successes of NBC News, and he's gone. So it tells you that they took the charge seriously.
He says the media industry and others are going through a sea change. Even NPR hasn't been immune. 2 senior managers have left after formal complaints were made.
I think you're seeing a revolution right now where allegations against people who would have had most protected status are now being treated with the utmost sobriety and seriousness.
Some people out here say it's about time.
I thought it was coming. I mean, I thought for a long time something like this had to finally blow over.
Certainly a benchmark in history that this is no longer going to be tolerated.
The question now many are afraid to ask or even think about, who's next? Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, New York.
The impact of these allegations stretch well beyond New York and the United States. Maniza Sheikh is a lawyer with expertise in employment and human rights issues. I want to ask you first of all about what happened in New York. NBC apparently getting this complaint on Monday night, firing Matt Lauer this morning, Wednesday morning. How do you feel about the speed with which this happened?
It tells me that they were far more concerned about running damage control from a PR perspective than any liability that might be associated with a wrongful termination suit. It also tells me that it is highly unlikely that they conducted any sort of fulsome investigation, which is something that Mr. Lauer is entitled to.
This is getting so much attention in Canada and the United States. The Me Too movement obviously has received a lot of support around the world. What are you seeing here in Canada in terms of the impact of all of this?
So on this side of the border, I can tell you that Me Too has provided a powerful platform for women to feel comfortable about coming forward with what many of us know to be a systemic crisis in the workplaces here in Canada as well. I can tell you in my practice, I have a number of employers who are reaching out to me preemptively, not in response to anything that's happened, simply to say, can you come in and train our HR managers? Can you explain some of these, astronomical legislative changes that we've seen so our HR employees understand? And more importantly, they're starting to understand that the public perception is that the buck stops with the employer in terms of creating a safe and healthy work environment. Simply having a code of conduct or a policy on the wall is not enough. People need to understand it, and you are responsible as an employer to ensure that they're trained on it.
I have a big question. I apologize in only a short amount of time to address it now, but for a woman who's watching, who has a complaint in Canada, what kind of road does she face now?
I can tell that woman that there is a lot of support from her, support for her, both, again, from a legislative and from a regulatory perspective. And at this point, she can come forward with her complaint to her HR department, hopefully without any fear of reprisal or retaliatory or punitive action on the employer's part.
Do you think that would happen, that there would not be retaliation or punishment?
I think it depends on the size of the employer. I think the large employers are sophisticated enough to understand that it would be PR suicide at this point to take these sort of allegations and sweep them under the rug. Where I still see it as a problem is with your small to medium-sized employers who really are not necessarily worried about, brand damaging.
All right, Maniza Sheikh, thank you very much. Lauer wasn't the only one making headlines today. The creator of the long-running radio show, A Prairie Home Companion, also lost his job because of an accusation of inappropriate behavior. Garrison Keillor was fired by Minnesota Public Radio because of a complaint from a female colleague. Keillor retired from the show last year, but he was working on other projects for the network. He told the Minneapolis Star-Tribune that he inadvertently put his hand up a woman's bare back and immediately apologized. MPR says it's not aware of any other allegations involving staff. It's pulled all the broadcasts hosted by Keillor off the air. And of course, Andrew, many people wondering who is next, because it seems inevitable that we'll hear from or about other big names.
Right, and yeah, so much of our attention has been on the United States because of all of this, but also because of what their president has been up to. Since he began campaigning for president, Donald Trump has had Muslims squarely in his sights. Once in office, he tried to actually ban Muslims from several countries. Still, today, some say he's hit a new low.
Around the world, people are looking at the United States of America. And what is being sent out from this White House is un-American and shameful.
So here it is, retweets of inflammatory videos first posted by the deputy leader of a British far-right anti-immigrant group. Jada Franson posted 3 unverified videos of what she says are Muslims engaging in violence and taking anti-Christian actions, but that Donald Trump would retweet them. Remember, he has more than 43 million followers to Franson's 71,000. Yet as people on both sides of the Atlantic accusing Trump of being reckless, promoting hatred and bigotry, and some British MPs even want Trump's visit next year canceled. The CBC's Thomas Daigle spoke with Jada Franson today.
No, you think you can take over town and tell us that it's your country?
This is the woman given a global audience by the U.S. president. Jada Franson, known for berating Muslims.
This is the symbol of oppression.
And staging far-right nationalist marches with her fringe group, Britain First.
The people who run it now are relatively extreme, regularly arrested for things like inciting kind of hatred.
What's wrong with this?
Franson herself has already been convicted and is charged again with religiously aggravated harassment.
We don't plan to allow any of this to silence us.
Facing jail time, she still spits out wild statements like this.
Muslims are obliged to kill every single non-Muslim. The President of the United States has recognized that an individual is being imprisoned for criticizing Islam.
Do you really think he put that much thought into it, or do you think it might be a case of he saw this video, he liked it, he retweeted it, looked at your feed, saw another couple more videos, retweeted them, and kind of moved on?
I would not suggest that the President of the United States retweeted 3 videos from my account without any knowledge of my plight. And I thank him for his public support.
Trump's retweets hit home for the family of Joe Cox, the British MP killed last year by a right-wing extremist who shouted Britain first as he attacked her.
And the fact that he didn't check first or didn't even think about the content of those tweets before doing it, I think suggests his judgment is hugely lacking.
A spokesperson for Prime Minister Theresa May acknowledged it was wrong for the president to have shared the videos. With just 3 retweets, he's emboldened a self-styled political party considered more widely as a hate group. Thomas Dagley, CBC News, London.
Now, this evening, Trump tweeted yet again on this, directly back at the British Prime Minister, in fact, saying, "Don't focus on me. Focus on the destructive radical Islamic terrorism that is taking place within the United Kingdom. We're doing just fine." Trump actually tweeted that twice. The first time he tagged the wrong Theresa May. But listen to what the former National Intelligence Director, James Clapper, had to say about Trump's retweets. He seems to have no idea what's going through Trump's mind right now.
It's bizarre and disturbing, and particularly when I think of him doing that in the context of North Korea, where moderation and temperance and thought, I think, is critical.
Temperance and Trump, 2 words you don't often hear together in the same sentence. And when Clapper mentions North Korea, that was just another of many things Trump seemed to have on his mind this morning. Just take a look at his feed. Here's a retweet of his press secretary. She was happy that CNN is planning to boycott the White House Christmas party. That was at 6:49 a.m. Then at 7:03, he was on to the stock market, bragging about the success of his own policies. And at 7:16, he commented on Matt Lauer being fired, saying top executives at NBC and Comcast should be fired for putting out so much fake news. And he also pointed vaguely and suggestively at the past of NBC News boss Andy Lack. Now let's bring in Keith Bogue out of Washington. And Keith, so we saw this kind of stream of consciousness from the U.S. president on Twitter. What did you make of that?
Well, I think it's hard to deny that the big picture about this is that there are really serious things happening in the world, and yet the president doesn't seem to be able to focus on them. We had, for instance, the test of an ICBM missile by North Korea overnight, in the last 48 hours, rather, and he's tweeting about those videos that you mentioned earlier. But I'll tell you, in this town, there's another story that's also causing a lot of concern that isn't perhaps getting as much attention in Canada, and that's a New York Times report that for most of the past year, Donald Trump has been telling people that the Access Hollywood tape, the one that came out during the election last year, where he appeared to be bragging about sexual assaults, he's been saying that's not really him on the tape. Even though the audio is clearly him, the video is clearly him, there were witnesses to it, he admitted himself that it was him last year. On top of all that, he is still obsessed with whether Barack Obama was born in the United States and was eligible to be president. He's reviving the birtherism hoax all over again. So for people who are concerned about the international context of what's going on in the world, the dangers, that the apparent imminent threats, the sense that the president doesn't have a grip on reality, that's a worrisome thing.
And then who knows what we'll be talking about tomorrow, right? So where does all this lead?
Well, the Congress is supposed to be an equal branch, a co-equal branch of the government. The Congress is supposed to keep a check on the president. But the Congress is controlled by Republicans. And right now, Republicans are laser focused on their tax cut proposal. They want to get it done quickly. They want the president to be able to sign it in the new year. That's their priority.
Keith Bogue, Thanks very much.
Thanks, Andrew.
And so, Adrian, Keith mentioned North Korea on the long list of things requiring the president's attention. And on that front, now things are really moving.
Well, there's no question the rhetoric is certainly moving. And Donald Trump is now promising additional major sanctions against North Korea this evening. That's just one day after the country's most powerful weapons test to date. And if Pyongyang is nervous about repercussions, it really isn't letting on. Its state broadcaster aired pictures of elated North Koreans, real or not, celebrating their leader's accomplishment. The rest of the world reacted with anger. At an emergency session of the UN Security Council, members condemned the test over and over again. The U.S. ambassador went further, demanding UN diplomatic ties be severed and asking China to cut off all supplies of crude. And Trump could not resist getting in a personal dig against Kim Jong-un.
Little rocket man, he is a sick puppy.
Washington vowed even more sanctions are coming, likely focused on the North's financial institutions. Now, those rising tensions have prompted Canadian officials to plan for worst-case scenarios. CBC News has learned that Ottawa has been reviewing how ready Canada will be in the event of a nuclear strike. Murray Brewster has obtained a copy of the critical contingency plans, and he's breaking that story for us this evening.
These are the kinds of things that you don't want to think about. What would happen if a nuclear-tipped missile or a radioactive dirty bomb went off here? In military terms, it's called a decapitation strike, meant to take down a government. And CBC News has obtained documents that show federal officials have been planning for it. Last summer, the document known as the Continuity of Constitutional Government was revised to require National Defense to open up 2 secure military bases in the event the National Capital Region becomes unviable. Federal cabinet ministers and senior officials would be evacuated to one of those secret locations, identified only as Alpha and Bravo. From there, they would continue to run the country. During the Cold War, these kinds of plans were routine. The first one was exercised in 1959 and involved helicopters landing just over there on the east side of Parliament. They would pick up the Prime Minister, cabinet, fly them to a nearby military airbase, and then on to an underground bunker. Images of a nuclear apocalypse haunted those in charge until the end of the Cold War, and that's what makes the revision of this plan significant.
I mean, I grew up in that period, so for me, it's going back to some of the old ways of doing things.
An entire generation of Canadian leaders have not had to think in these terms. That is until Russia's annexation of Crimea, and of course, North Korea.
With North Korea, with the kind of leader they have today and the kind of verbiage that's come out, people have become somewhat concerned about would he actually fire a nuclear weapon.
How significant is it that they have refreshed this plan at this time?
Well, it's prudence. It's simple prudence to do it. I think it would be over the top to actually spend extraordinary amounts of energy and finances on it.
And that's where experts begin to disagree. Many question civil preparedness. A nuclear blast brings with it an electromagnetic pulse. That would fry power grids over a much wider area than just the blast radius, taking down not only businesses, but the internet and public infrastructure such as water and sewer plants. Murray Brewster, CBC News, Ottawa.
Still on Parliament Hill, the opposition launched its strongest attack yet against the federal finance minister. The Conservatives have been hammering Bill Morneau over his personal finances. Our David Cochrane now on why they're calling for Morneau to resign or just be fired.
It's been building to this for months.
Will the finance minister finally do the right thing and resign?
But Bill Morneau isn't going anywhere.
I have full confidence in the Minister of Finance, and one only has to look at the 500,000 new jobs to understand why.
This latest opposition attack amounts to an accusation of insider trading. On November 30th of 2015, somebody sold 680,000 shares of Morneau-Chappelle stock worth about $10 million. A week later, Morneau tabled a motion to raise taxes on the rich, which the Conservatives say caused the stock market to tumble, including those shares of Morneau-Chappelle. Chappelle, which lost about $500,000 in value. Selling early avoided that loss.
There are no secrets here. As has been reported in the press, when I came into office, I sold some shares.
Morneau admits he sold those shares, but denies he did it to avoid the hit from tax changes the Liberals promised during the election.
We campaigned on that promise, Mr. Speaker. They lost because of that promise.
When will this Prime Minister do the right thing and fire this incompetent minister who can't follow the rules?
The attack has been persistent, but it hasn't been consistent. Inside the House, where MPs can't be sued for what they say, a key phrase pops up.
Insider trading.
Insider trading.
But MPs avoided insider trading, a criminal act, outside the House where they can be sued, insisting they just want answers.
This is the finance minister who refused to answer simple questions.
So the insinuations of corruption are met by cries of cowardice.
He should say what he means. He should say it here. He should say it now. He should stand up and say it. And then he should go out in the foyer and say it again.
In other words, let's take it outside. David Cochran, CBC News, Ottawa.
Canada has a new Supreme Court justice. The Prime Minister announced the appointment of Sheila Martin today. While some are disappointed he did not choose an Indigenous candidate, she does have a strong connection to First Nations issues, and she maintains that even gender balance on the bench. Here's a short brief on the new justice.
She's going to be a great voice on the Supreme Court.
Justice Martin brings a progressive mindset as well as decades of legal experience, an academic, a practicing lawyer, and a judge. She's done pro bono work for LEAF, the Women's Legal Education and Action Fund. She worked on the Indian Residential School Settlement Agreement. She helped win compensation in David Milgaard's wrongful murder conviction case. Last year, she issued Canada's first judicial approval for a person requesting a medically assisted death. That's a ruling that now applies across the country.
And still ahead tonight on The National, it could be a turbulent holiday season for American Airlines. Why it is scrambling to find enough pilots to cover thousands of flights.
And Indigenous mothers in Quebec are sharing their heartbreaking stories from decades ago. Children taken away for medical treatment and never returned. The shocking story of what happened to them.
And a CBC News exclusive with Radiohead, the drummer of the band, speaking out about the stage collapse in Toronto back in 2012 that killed a crew member.
I can't let this lie. I want to see a proper conclusion.
On The National tonight, American Airlines is scrambling to fix a mistake that could cause chaos over the holiday travel season. The airline says a computer glitch allowed too many of their pilots to take vacation days. So now, union reps say there are more than 15,000 flights with no one to actually fly them. The airline's now reaching out to those pilots to try to convince them to pick those shifts back up. Also tonight, investigators are trying to figure out how a convicted war criminal was able to smuggle what appeared to be poison into a UN courtroom.
Stop, please. Please sit down.
So that was what happened shortly after the judge upheld Slobodan Prajek's 20-year sentence for war crimes during the Bosnian War. He died a little later in hospital. It's still unclear what exactly he drank or where he got it from, but an investigation is underway. And there was a sea of worshippers today in Myanmar, where Pope Francis celebrated his first public mass there. Once again, no direct mention of the Rohingya people, 600,000 of whom have had to flee. But he did speak of ethnic rights and condemned violence. In just a few hours, Francis will travel to Bangladesh, where he is expected to meet a small group of Rohingya refugees.
We turn now to an event that shocked music lovers and that still haunts one of the world's biggest bands. That is Radiohead at Coachella in 2012. They didn't know it at this moment, but just a few dates later, their tour would end in catastrophe. The tragic end of Radiohead's biggest North American tour in years was here in Canada, in Toronto, with a deadly stage collapse. After 5 years, attempts to hold anyone responsible have gone nowhere. As part of an intensive CBC investigation into Canada's workplace fatalities, Katie Nicholson uncovered details about the Radiohead case that have never been heard before.
Crews were setting up the stage ahead of a Radiohead concert.
We heard what sounded like an enormous cabinet of glasses falling over.
Minutes before the gates opened, the stage ceiling came crashing down.
The top of the structure had buckled.
You just saw several people lying on the stage. We could see Scott lying under a piece of equipment.
Toronto was the last stop on the English band's tour. 33-year-old drum tech Scott Johnson was crushed to death.
Something that was meant to bring, a lot of joy that evening, as it just resulted in the death of Scott.
Scott Johnson was in demand as a drum technician, working for Keane, the Killers, and of course, Radiohead. He'd been with the band roughly 2 years when he boarded a plane for its 2012 North American tour. It was an elaborate spectacle. By the time it hit Canada, it was a well-oiled machine. An intense light show with huge spinning screens hung suspended in the air, weighing some 30,000 kilograms. Underneath it all, one of the best drummers in the world, Philip Selway. Death, especially a death without answers, has a way of bringing people together.
Hey dear, bless him. I'll have to show you the photo.
In a country churchyard in South Yorkshire, a rock star and a grieving father pay their respects. It's been 5 years since Ken Johnson lost his son, and in that time, no convictions, no fines, and no answers about how it happened.
His word was proper. When something was right, it was proper. Yeah, it sums him up really.
It's been too hard for Ken's wife, Sue, to talk publicly about the loss of their only child.
Thank you very much.
Until now.
I didn't worry that we wouldn't get justice.
Yeah.
And I feel so let down by Canada. I really do.
The Johnsons feel robbed of justice, but they still have their memories.
They'd get us on Skype and he'd stick his laptop out the window and show us around the town, wherever he was,
He just loved his work.
He was happy, he was...
Yeah. I'm glad at least he were doing something that he absolutely loved.
Yeah.
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 In Los Angeles, the British rock world's go-to production manager, Richard Young. He's got tours with everyone from Adele to Nine Inch Nails under his belt. He remembers some reservations among the Radiohead crew that day in Toronto.
No, there's definitely a feeling, a conversation about, this technology's old, this equipment's old. It's been a long time since we've played on this kind of stage.
Live Nation is the world's largest live entertainment company. It handled all the venue arrangements for the tour. It hired a local Ontario business, Optics Staging, to construct the stage. Optics contracted engineer Dominic Cugliari to draw the plans for the stage at the Downsview venue.
Somewhere in that triangle, accountability lies.
Radiohead's insurance company hired forensic engineer Doug Perovic to help them find answers.
No, these are actually seats used by members of the crew. You can see this one's been crushed.
Metal built to withstand thousands of pounds of pressure buckled and bent.
So this structure is a multi-point loaded temporary structure. And when you look at the existing codes and standards in Canada, there isn't actually one that relates specifically for temporary structures of that type.
So typically, engineers design those structures to handle 2 to 4 times more weight than needed. That begs a question.
Was the structure as built the same as what was intended in the design specifications?
It took a full year for the Ministry of Labour to finish an investigation into the collapse. Its findings were never publicly released. The Ministry of Labour told CBC News if it wanted to see the investigation report, we'd have to file a Freedom of Information request. We did, and we're still waiting.
We're not expected to work in dangerous situations. You know, there are some careers out there where you put yourself in harm's way. The entertainment industry shouldn't be putting anybody in harm's way.
Philip Selway especially feels a heavy burden. For the first time, he reveals there was nearly a very different headline that day.
When the collapse happened, it happened at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Our sound check was due to start at 4 o'clock. And I actually should have been where Scott was. And that is an incredible weight, and I can't let this lie.
In 2013, 1 year after the collapse, Live Nation, Optic Staging, and the engineer were charged with 13 offences under Ontario's occupational health and safety laws. All 3 pleaded not guilty. But like the stage, the case against the 3 would also collapse. The case was in its 3rd year when something unusual happened. With just 3 days left in the trial, the presiding judge was appointed to federal court. He decided he no longer had jurisdiction and declared a mistrial. This past September, a full 5 years after the collapse, the judge who took his place ruled in favor of the defendant's application to have the case dropped under the Jordan ruling, which set strict timelines to ensure a speedy trial. All 13 charges were stayed. The news was devastating for the Johnsons, who can't wrap their head around the fact that after 5 years, there are still no answers.
They seem to have forgot Scott in all this. It's almost as if they've tried the best to delay and delay to try and get themselves off with these charges. But they seem to forget that Scott lost his life because somebody made a mistake.
We expect justice to be done. You expect a court case to find out what happened, for anybody who has any culpability in it to accept responsibility, and then out of all of that you expect measures to be taken.
No one has had to face the music for any role in Scott Johnson's death, but Radiohead promises to shine a spotlight on it until that changes. For The National, I'm Katie Nicholson in Doncaster, England.
CBC News has learned that tomorrow, as a result of heightened interest in this case, Ontario will call an inquiry into the Radiohead stage collapse. As we mentioned, this story comes as a result of a CBC News investigation into about 250 cases of workplace fatalities in Canada. We'll have extensive coverage on television, on radio, and online tomorrow. Among the findings, some sobering numbers. For instance, maximum fines are rarely imposed on employers after someone dies on the job. The median fine across Canada, $97,500. There are potentially stiff penalties for criminal liability, but CBC could find only 5 employers who have ever served jail time in connection to a workplace death.
Still ahead on The National, a story of lost Indigenous children. You see, decades ago in northern Quebec, Atikamekw children were routinely taken to southern hospitals for medical care. Many never returned. We investigate what happened to them next.
Welcome back. Ian Hannamansing here in the studio during a break. And those of you watching us on Facebook Live, on Twitter, and on YouTube, I'm here to answer some of your questions. You can send them in on Facebook and also on Twitter. And we've received a wide range of questions already. For example, what's a historic wardrobe question? Did you wear a Charlie Brown patterned shirt once? I can't stop thinking about it. Well, it's possible. I mean, I've been doing this job for 30 years, and I've worn a lot of bad clothes, had a lot of bad hair.
It was Monday.
Did I wear a Charlie Brown patterned shirt once? Almost certainly yes, and quite possibly more recently than I care to remember. Another question, that one, by the way, Carla on Twitter. This question, Joseph Planta, will you be traveling the country with the show? Well, we also already kind of travel the country, right? We have Rosemary in Ottawa, who's watching from home right now. We have Andrew, of course, in Vancouver, Adrian and I here. But yes, we really do hope to travel, not only as reporters in the field doing stories, but what I would love to do, and I think it's easier when you have 4 anchors, is to be able to go to Halifax, let's say, when an interesting story is happening there, getting Tom Murphy to do a story, for example, have us talk to Haligonians, and then, you know, with 4 anchors, the other anchors can still be on base. We can, you know, run in for like a day basically and do a story in an area and then leave. So I hope to do that. You're going to hear a lot of sound because right there, Adrian is apparently trying to fix her computer. I don't quite know what's going on. It makes it very difficult to do my job.
I'm sorry.
Let's see, what else do we have here? Ray McIsaac on Twitter, you had a question about the biggest surprise on the show, and we addressed that in the last break, although I would add that the long hours are kind of surprising. Adrian and I, for example, same thing for Rosemary. How much time? Oh, can we take the wide shot again? Because this is maybe the most fascinating thing that's happened. And this is just the computer. Anyway, we get here for a 9:30 meeting and pretty well stay until 11:15 or so. So, you know, that was really exciting for the first couple of days. But I keep saying to Adrian, tomorrow, can you come a little bit later? And she doesn't. It's a race to the bottom as one of us is waiting for the other one to finally either collapse or work normal hours. So that's kind of a surprise. Let's see what else we have here in terms of questions. Don't you wish we were doing this live on the air every night? Angus Bell on Twitter, how's the multi-host format working so far for the 4 of you? It's so different from anything that I'm used to. You know, I've had co-anchors before, Gloria Makarenko, amazing journalist in Vancouver. She and I worked together for years. Obviously, I've done solo anchoring as well. 4 is a lot different, right? It's kind of, I said this in a meeting we had months ago, it's kind of like having 4 point guards on the court at the same time. All of us are kind of used to carrying the ball up the court, and now we have to share it. But I think so far we're doing a good job. Adrian, are we doing a good job sharing it?
I think we're okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can tell we get along really well together.
William, it helps. We've known each other for like literally 25 years.
25 years, yeah. I haven't known Andrew for 25 years because he was in grade 3 25 years from now. We have 30 seconds. Let's see, anything else? Somebody named Rob Lauer has a question. What changes have you made in the format since day one? You know what? A very smart guy, Tony Berman, who used to run the news here, said no matter how much planning you've done, day 2 is going to be different from day 1. And the week later will be different from when it started. I'm getting a count here, 5 seconds. So it has changed. Next time, we'll talk about what those changes are. Thank you very much for watching. Now we got to get back to the news.
For members of the Atikamekw First Nation in remote northern Quebec, life revolves around family. But for some, that closeness was shattered forever in the 70s. That's when children who needed medical attention were routinely sent to southern hospitals, never to be seen again. Our colleagues at Radio Canada's program Enquête investigated this decades-old mystery to find out what happened to those missing children and how their disappearance affected those left behind. Justin Hayward has one family's story.
In remote northern Quebec, a family reunion of sorts. Grandmother Alice Petitguay, surrounded by several of her 15 children. Petitguay is a Atikamekw from a village hundreds of kilometers north of the St. Lawrence River. When she speaks, her daughters translate. I had 15 children, she says, and I took care of them all, except for Diane. 5 decades ago, baby Diane developed pneumonia and was taken alone to a hospital hundreds of kilometers away from her mother's village. She never came back. For years, every time the family left the bush to get supplies in a nearby town, Petitguay would ask what had happened to her daughter. Forget your daughter, she was told. You have other children. In those years, the Atikamekw communities were more isolated. It could take days to reach a city. Eventually, the family got hold of a document from social services marked child placement. It said the daughter had been abandoned by her parents. The baby Diane had been placed with a white family without the parents' consent. She remembers signing a paper, but the local priest told her it was so the child could get medical care. That's not at all the same, she says. The Radio Canada program Enquête found family after family with similar stories. And Diane Béliveau was a social worker in Atikamekw territory in the 1970s. Children were often handed over to child protection authorities for no justifiable reason, she says. For instance, when a doctor felt the child needed protection. Many children never returned. But incredibly, Diane did. She met her brothers and sisters for the first time. And another surprise. They introduced me to my twin brother, she says. But for Diane, the homecoming is incomplete. She never learned the Atikamekw language or culture. Something's missing in me, she says. Something lost that I will never be able to get back, like so many others who never returned. Justin Hayward, CBC News, Montreal.
Well, after a bleak few years, there's now so much drilling happening in a small Alberta town. Some say they can barely keep up with the work. We'll take you there next on The National.
Sounds like you're working twice as much these days than you were a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah. 7 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day.
Last year at this time, it was really quiet. It was. We were really struggling. We were having a hard time getting enough rooms to keep our housekeepers busy, to keep people employed. This year, our housekeepers are tired at this point.
When it comes to the oil industry, Alberta has seen its share of ups and downs. But tomorrow, all eyes there will be on Vienna. Oil-producing countries will be talking about how to keep oil prices up. A welcome conversation for a province that has been down in the dumps. A recovery has been underway, though. Alberta now leads the country in GDP growth. Oil drilling has ticked up, and fewer people are out of work. And at the heart of all of this is development of the Duvernay. It's a massive piece of land covering about a fifth of the province. And underground, they figure around 3.4 billion barrels of crude and 6.3 billion barrels of what are called natural gas liquids. And at the heart of all that, Rocky Mountain House, a place that's gone from boom to bust to boom again. So we sent our Aaron Collins to see for himself how Duvernay has helped the town make a comeback.
The traffic is back in Rocky Mountain House.
In late spring, the campground started getting packed with oil and gas workers, and then the trucks started coming in. And end of summer, it's been filled with trucks. So we're gonna go head this way now, which is on the border of the town and county where the trucks come in.
When people are talking about the economy in Alberta right now, you're hearing, about the downtimes, but it seems like the downtimes are over. Is the boom back here?
Definitely when you're driving across Highway 11, which is the major corridor in central Alberta to link them out in the West Country, you're seeing these massive trucks. The amount of equipment going on Highway 11, it's hard when you're trying to drive behind all these equipment.
Like the roads here, hotels and restaurants are jammed again.
It's only just been days recently that things have picked up. And we're just in a lucky area because of the Duvernay. That,
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. No, I'm great. Thanks so much. Do you think that this is the sign of things to come for the rest of the province? I mean, is this
sure would like to keep my fingers crossed that it is. Yeah. I mean, the only problem is with this industry, you know, it's so unpredictable. You just keep your fingers crossed that it lasts as long as it can.
All that activity has local companies scrambling to hire again.
So when did things turn the corner?
We noticed things will start to pick up on the oil field side of things more this spring. Now we're flat out. Things are flying.
And this has to do with people interested in that Duvernay play.
Yeah, Duvernay play has been huge for us. It's been kind of the focal point for us as a business to get through it and keep our people going.
Well, you mentioned people, you know, you're hiring again.
Absolutely.
That's all welcome news for those who are itching to get back to work.
Are you working 7 days a week?
Yeah.
That's the Alberta way, hey?
Yeah. Do what you gotta do. Pay the bills.
So, were you working 7 days a week 2 years ago?
No. I was 2, sometimes 3, possibly 4. It would basically depending on the weather.
Sounds like you're working twice as much these days than you were a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah. 7 days a week, 10 to 12 hours a day.
Wow. What are you gonna do with all that money?
Buy a house.
With oil flirting with $60 a barrel, the hope is that the days of just scraping by could soon be over here. Aaron Collins, CBC News, Rocky Mountain House, Alberta.
We have more ahead tonight, but as we go to break, we've learned that Anthony Senerchia has died. Now, you may not have heard of him, but he was at the heart of an online phenomenon that was really hard to miss, the Ice Bucket Challenge.
I'm calling out Jeanette Senerchia.
That was Chris Kennedy calling out his cousin. Her husband, Anthony Senerchia, had ALS.
You have 24 hours to respond, or you're going to donate $100 to the ALS Foundation. Here we go. Good luck, guys.
It's actually cold.
That was the moment that an internet dare became a historic awareness campaign. The challenges soon spread like a supernova, all in the name of supporting ALS research. Athletes and celebrities started dunking, daring, and donating. In the space of weeks, 2.5 million people made donations, pouring more than $100 million into ALS charities. Anthony Senerchia, the man who started it all, battled the disease for 14 years until his death a few days ago at the age of 46.
A victory cry from a sold-out crowd in Toronto tonight as Toronto FC advances to the Major League Soccer Cup final. The team beat out Columbus Crew 1-0. TFC will host the final in Toronto on December 9th. Also tonight, how high can Bitcoin go? It shot right past $11,000 US per coin today, but then took a huge tumble, going as low as $9,300. It's raising concerns that, as far as digital currencies go, it is anything but stable. And some people wonder if it's a bubble just waiting to burst.
I do not have the money to spare.
No one has ever been richer than you are at this moment. What would it take for you to feel secure?
More.
That's Christopher Plummer in what used to be Kevin Spacey's role in the upcoming movie All the Money in the World. Spacey was cut from the film just 3 weeks ago after he was hit with sexual misconduct allegations. And now, wasting no time, the new trailer came out today. The movie's set to release next month. Okay, let's talk about everybody's favorite thing, Statistics Canada census numbers. They're just out this morning, and they're actually pretty interesting. One of the big findings, Canadians are more educated than ever. Just over half of the population has at least one university degree. And that's the highest rate, by the way, of any industrialized country. And also, you should know, immigrants are a big part of that. On average, better educated than those who are Canadian-born. But what I wanted to show you are where most folks end up working. Take a look at this. These are the top 10 jobs held by Canadians last year, both men and women. For women, retail work was top of the list, followed by nurses, cashiers, elementary and kindergarten teachers, and administrative assistants. For men, the #1 occupation was truck driver, followed by retail workers and managers, janitors and caretakers, construction workers, and mechanics.
So all those numbers are on our website, tons of them. I just had a look at another one, which is that twice as many seniors are working full-time now than there were 20 years ago.
And you wonder if that's because people are living longer and are healthier so they can work, or if it's about the money that they need to have late in life.
Well, I just got to say, the thing that shocked me most was that truck drivers was the #1 occupation for men. I had no idea that there were so many across the country, but there you go. That's the National for November 29th. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.